In this video, I want to talk to you about a new product that we're launching into the marketplace, and it's called LEDFLEX. And I've got two panels displayed here, and we will demonstrate them to you. But first, let me talk to you and describe what the product is. So first of all, we've got two different variations of the product here. The third is a sandwiched laminated format. The top here we've got our model that is sandwiched between two very thin acrylic sheets, 2 mils and about 1 mil thick, and that provides a relatively rigid type of display. And down the bottom, this one here, we have our one that has the black background. You can see that here if I lift that up. So that's black, solid, designed for non-transparent installations. The two panels are actually joined here in the middle, and you can get an idea of that if I show this to you like this method here. There are little connector cables that connect the various sets of electronic LED circuitry, and normally this gap wouldn't appear, so you can see there's actually a gap. I can put my finger through there, and that's because it's hanging and we haven't applied the joining technique to actually push them together, in which case then they just join with no gap there. But because we're hanging, it's got the gap and so forth. So once you would mount that each tile in turn, you would close up that gap. And you can see down the bottom here we have the LED connectors along the edge of the road. You might just be able to make it a little locking tongues as well. So what else can I say? Extremely lightweight. In fact, the weight compared to typical LED screens is virtually zero. Obviously there's a little bit of weight involved because of the circuitry and the plastic laminating and so forth, and the connectors, but the weight is very, very, very light. The thickness is between 1 to 3 millimeters, so that's incredibly light, and there's really no other LED screen technology on the marketplace in terms of product design for large buildings or window frames to be able to be used like this. So this is quite remarkable in this respect. So now, how does it get powered? Well, up the top here we have the controller, and if I can probably just lower that down a little bit, you might be able to see that. I've just got it tied up the top here, but you can see it up here, and we've just looped it over the top of the bar up there. Down the bottom is a power supply, and the number of power supplies you'll need will be in accordance to the size of the screen, which will be also according to the pitch, the brightness you need, and the quantity of panels. So there's a little bit of variance in how many you would need of those. But typically, you know, you might have, depending on the pitch, an average, but you could say, let's say, 6 to 4 tiles per power supply. So that will vary a little bit as well. The next part I want to talk about is how do you install it onto a building, so to speak. First of all, it's designed to either go against a window, or it could be used as a freestanding type screen. Obviously it's a freestanding, it needs some other infrastructure with it. If it's hanging, it also needs something to be able to contain the power supplies and the controllers and so forth. But in essence, against a window or building facade, you would actually just use adhesive tape and actually place it against the window. Of course, the power supplies and the controllers would need to be mounted as well, but in terms of the tiles themselves, you actually can use just a bonding tape, industrial grade tape, and actually bond it against the window. And you wouldn't obviously need to cover the entire surface, but just some of it. One of the important parts or features of this product is its transparency, and you can get an idea through here. Very transparent. Now, the plastic film is actually still on here, which does provide a little bit of diffusion in the clarity, but essentially in this model here it's 100% clear because the acrylic is 100% clear, and it will give you a pretty perfect transparent view. The bottom one, as I indicated earlier, it's got a black backing, so obviously not transparent. the reason for black can be because you don't want to have transparency through, might be the first reason. But one of the little side benefits of that is that black will actually help increase the contrast. And especially will be noticeable over a very large screen. So that's just something to be aware of. And for the third option that we aren't demonstrating here, where the LED strips are actually laminated and sandwiched between a film. And so in that case you don't have transparency, but you have very high opacity, so light can still come in through. You can still see shapes beyond the other side of the screen when you're looking through, you know, from the back of the screen, but you can't see nice clear clarity that you can with this one here, the top one. So that's the technical aspects. What we also have is a pitch range. So the pitch range will vary between P3 right up to P20, so 3.6 for example. So that means 3 millimeters horizontal to get the resolution and 6 millimeters vertical to get the clarity. And so we have 4, 8 and so forth, P10 right up to 15 P20, 15 horizontal, 20 vertical, and also 20 mils in both horizontal and vertical pitch. So that becomes useful for a whole wide range of different types of installations depending on your viewing distances and that type of thing. So the next part to understand is what constitutes resolution. Well, it's according to the distance of the LEDs from centre to centre. And the reason that you might use a P3 for example is because you want very high clarity at a close viewing distance of say 4 meters. But if you are doing a large screen over a building, you might use P10, P15 or even P20. And so what that means is 1 millimeter of pitch typically will equate to 1 meter of viewing distance to start to get what we would say the minimum viewing distance. And so if you were trying to decide what is your pitch you need, consider what is the closest viewing distance, the furthest viewing distance, and then what is the average of that, or the sweet spot for viewing. Of course your screen width will help determine that as well, and that will be all undermined by your budget. But for example, the smaller the screen you go, you probably want to go to a finer pitch, otherwise you're just going to get coloured flashing lights which aren't going to have any meaningful understandable content and not that readable. So how do you control these screens? Well, quite simple. In this demonstration here I want to show you the controllers, what we call an asynchronous controller. It's a media player as well, so it's got some media loaded into it. There's a couple of USBs, one on the front and one at the back here, that you can load content. You can also place it on your network, which is through this connector here. This one up here is where you plug this cable, which will then display the content on the screen, and we can just hotspot that straight in. You can see here there's a little audio connector, so if your video had audio you could be playing that out as well. So let's do that now. So we're going to plug that into there, and you will see if I just hold that around the right way and plug it in, and you can see automatically came on. And so we're pretty close. So this view through here is I think probably about 1 meter away from the camera, and the view straight ahead to this view here we're looking at probably about 2.5, maybe not quite 3 meters. It's a 10mm pitch screen that we're showing you here. So, you know, not a lot of detail, but you can see that this is a general pattern that is actually being displayed. What I want to show you here is, even though the screen is running, we can actually move the tiles without sort of any damage. So flexing, let's try and give you a view of showing it flexing. This top one's not so flexible because it's rigid between 2 acrylic sheets. And the other third option is very flexible as well because of the film that we sandwich it between is incredibly thinner, obviously. Now the other control aspect that you're able to do is to actually use a computer. So in that particular case, it's automatically connected to a computer, the software is running and all the content sitting on a computer as well. So no content is actually embedded or stored within the screen tile itself, but it's always on either the computer or on the asynchronous player. So in terms of installing the tiles, very straightforward because it's so lightweight, as you can see here. We can quite easily take the whole box of this tiles up the elevator onto the floor you're going to install your screen and start your installation. So no need to worry about scaffolding, cranes, accessing the outside of the building and all of those issues where there will be major constraints and resource consent and blocking off the street. Simply go up on the elevator to the floor you want, or obviously go into the shop floor and or office and just work from that level there. But because being so lightweight, it's easy to install tile by tile. You don't really need to worry about weight and safety issues in that respect. And of course, as you can see here, it's perfectly safe to touch. So that's what I want to show you on this video, and we invite you to contact us. And again, you can see pretty impressive, I think, how it can be so flexible when we're so used to having fixed frame LED tiles. So contact details below on the end of this video, and we look forward to hearing from you and discussing your needs. Thanks for watching.